Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not worry about the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would know we're talking about some new light in the sky, because on Saturday there will be a new moon at 18 degrees of Gemini, and that's why the title of tonight's show is Winding Down. Now, under a new moon, it always designates a new beginning, so why can we be thinking of winding down first? Well, because for one thing, Gemini rules two of everything. It's the sign of the twins. It generally rules two halves rather than two wholes, and by that I mean it rules part-time work or temporary endeavors or projects, or it can be something like a hobby, and it rules all short forms of communication because it rules community colleges, vocational schools, or training seminars, and it rules buying and selling and advertising. It rules journalism. It rules promoting and renting. So those can be things that are a short form of communication or some sort of temporary activity or condition. The reason why we have to wind down before we can begin something new is because the new moon and the sun are in Gemini along with Mars and Jupiter, and the new moon is at 18 degrees. When we reduce numbers, we add their digits, so 1 plus 8 equals 9. 9 is the highest of all the single digits. It's associated with the sign of Virgo, and it indicates finishing something. And so that's why you've got to wind down first, because if you wind down an activity that perhaps you're not concerned with anymore, or if you decide to taper off a relationship that doesn't have any more meaning to you, or if you're doing something like graduating, that would be winding down a course of study, and that would prepare you to get ready for a little bit of job hunting or a new career. And so that's why we need to sort of cut something out, or we need to wind down one phase of something before we can go to the next phase. And one thing that you might want to do right now as you're winding down is that you might want to be taking something that you've already been working at. It could be a hobby, but one that you really love. Or it could be a short course of study, or it could be something like a proposal. And this is a time when, if you've been thinking about something and you have some good ideas, this is when you can take it to the next level. So you may be winding down your preparation time now, or you may be winding down the early stages of something, and now is when you can maybe take it to the next level, and that means that you could take it from just an idea or just a proposal to something that is much more concrete, and to something that involves a deeper commitment from you. And so if you're going to make a deeper commitment, it means that you do have to cut out a few other things because you have a higher priority in one area or another, which is good, because Gemini does rule communication and change is going to be accelerated right now. That's why I'm suggesting that you wind something down and leave yourself available for something new, because Mars is now in Gemini, and that means the change is going to come really quickly, or people can be pressing you on a deadline, and so everyone is going to be a lot busier in June than they are planning on being right now, which is just fine. There are also some little roadblocks that you have to watch out for. One of them is that there are 4 planets in the cardinal signs. The 4 cardinal signs are Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. And now we have Mercury and Venus in Cancer. They are being opposed by Pluto in Capricorn, and all 3 of those planets are being squared by Uranus in Aries. What this means now, since Venus and Uranus are the 2 love planets, is that there are some people that have a love life that's not going too smoothly right now. And because Uranus is there being squared on both sides now by planets, it is an indication that there could be somebody who's been very spoiled in the past and wants to have their own way and is certainly not going to get it at all. And so with a diminishment of their authority or of their stature or of a relationship that's sort of going nowhere, it can be that they decide to leave. So in other words, they either want to have it all their own way or they're going to take off. Well, if they do take off, too bad. I don't think too many people are going to miss them right now. In fact, that may actually bring a lot of relief. So if you know somebody in your life that has been causing you a little consternation and they decide to leave, you might breathe a sigh of relief instead. As well, there are 4 planets in the water signs now, and that's what can help you wind down in one area or relationship so that you can commit yourself to something else. And the reason why is that same Venus and Mercury in Cancer are now being trined by Saturn in Scorpio and by Neptune in Pisces. When Venus and Saturn trine each other, it means that loyal friends stick together. And since Venus is in the sign of the family, it means old family ties really do hold up quite well. And so you might want to remember that people that had been jarring you or making you a little nervous or creating havoc in your life, if they leave, still you would have the people that you really love and that you really count on, and that is what can also make you want to wind down in one area so that you can perhaps expand in another. And many families are due to expand in the next year, and there are going to be more marriages than people think. All right, what does this idea of winding down mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, it simply means that it might be you, Aries, that is not too happy with the way you're being treated right now. And it can be that your authority is being challenged because Pluto in Capricorn is squaring Uranus in your sign. And not everyone is happy with your relationships right now. In fact, there could be a relationship that is ending for you, Aries, and that is because Venus is squaring Uranus in your sign as well. So I would say that possibly your home life could be challenging to you, and your professional life could be as well. Or it can simply be that somebody's budget is shrinking, and that could diminish your authority as well. And so this is a time when you're just going to have to probably think of taking off on your own. And that's a good idea, because at least it would be your choice rather than someone else's at the moment, Aries. And so if you wanted to even take a short vacation, now is the time to do that. Good luck. All right, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, in the background of your life, Uranus is in Aries, right behind your sun sign, and so that simply means that someone in the background of your life is not really very happy right now, and that is because things are changing and they're not adapting very well. So there can be a little turmoil behind the scenes right now that can cause you a little aggravation, Taurus, but luckily Mars is no longer in your sun sign, and so it isn't opposing Saturn anymore. In fact, Mars has gone into Gemini, and Taurus, the good news is there are 6 planets right ahead of your sun sign, the 4 that are in Gemini and 2 more that are in Cancer, one of which is your ruler, Venus. And that simply means, Taurus, that if you were a little short of money right now, or your bills were piling up, or property taxes were getting high, this is an excellent time for you to think about selling. After all, that is what Gemini rules. And you could even almost get your price right now in a real estate matter, Taurus. And that's why I think maybe you should liquidate a few assets, because if you could get your price, then you could take that profit and do something else with it instead, and that may relieve some of your financial worries. So I wish you the best of luck, as winding down could actually make you a little richer right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is simply a time with that new moon in your sign when change is the name of the game, Gemini, and I am absolutely positive that you are going to be changing. And as soon as you understand that there's only 24 hours in a day and you can't do everything, you will be able, I think, to prioritize and perhaps cut a few things out. There can be people around you in relationships that you have simply outgrown. Maybe you don't have anything in common with them anymore. Or it can be that you're very restless and you want to move and perhaps downsize or even go back to an old neighborhood. And you could certainly do that very easily. But the fact is, you will have to finish something or wind something up or let something go Gemini, before you can make a positive change that can result in greater emotional happiness. After all, your ruler, Mercury, and Venus, the planet of love, are in Cancer right ahead of your sun sign. And that simply means that if you did make a move, you could probably make somebody else pretty happy right now, either in your immediate family, or it can be that you yourself are expanding your own family life and friendships. But you need to cut something else out first, Gemini, and downsizing or changing is the name of the game right now. Because the sun and new moon are at 18 degrees, you've got to finish something up, or you've just got to call it quits. Or, like my aunt always said, you have to close one door, Gemini, before another one can open. And it's the closing of the door that I think is an urgent matter for you right now, and you need to face that. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, a Cancer is certainly fortunate that Mercury and Venus are both in your sun sign right now, because that simply means it's forming a very nice grand trine in water signs, because Saturn in Scorpio is trining your sun, and so is Neptune in Pisces. This grand trine in water signs, which can help us stabilize our emotions and define who we really love and who we want to make sacrifices for, is going to hold for a whole year. It isn't that Mercury and Venus are going to stay in your sign, it's that Jupiter is going to be coming into your sign on June 26th, and it will trine Saturn in Scorpio and Neptune in Pisces, and it will set up a magical grand trine that will make a lot of people feel like coming home. And that's where it's all going to end up, Cancer. So you could be extremely happy in the next year, and I think your family could expand as well. But you too have to wind something down. And I think that you're actually ready for that, Cancer. You could be deciding that less is more. In other words, less activity could make you a lot happier. And so it wouldn't surprise me if you decided to go from full-time to part-time, or if you decided to retire, or if you simply decided to move and take life a little bit easier, all of which are very well favored for you. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when I think you can be very relieved, because Mars in Taurus is no longer squaring your sun. Saturn in Scorpio still is, and those are the two financial signs. So money is still going to be a little bit slow coming in, or you won't be paid quite what you think you're really worth for at least the next 2 years. But there is a lot of things to be happy about right now, Leo, and it is that those 4 planets in Gemini are all sextiling your sun, indicating a minimum at least of 2 wonderful opportunities that you can take advantage of, Leo, because right behind your sun sign are Mercury and Venus. So there can be the talk or the thought of love in the air behind the scenes. And so you could be wanting to beautify your home, or your family could be expanding, or you could be taking on something that is part-time but that is very well favored. So you might run out of time, Leo, and that's why you need to wind down. You need to finish up something that has had its day, that you are completely done with, and you need to admit that, and then open yourself up to new possibilities, because they could be knocking on your door, Leo, at least 2 good ones. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when I think you can be beset or thrown off by the pressures that other people are putting on you, and they can be chaotic. And yours is an orderly, methodical sign. But that new moon on Saturday, along with the Sun and Mars and Jupiter, are all squaring your sun. The one to worry about is the fact that Mars is now squaring your sun, meaning that you might not want to believe everything people are telling you right now, and people could be trying to push your buttons, Virgo, and they could be making promises that they have no intention of delivering on. That's why you need to get something in writing right now, Virgo. Don't believe promises unless you see it signed, sealed, and delivered right now, because there is a 5th planet that is opposing your sun sign, and it is Neptune in Pisces. That Neptune is very well fortified right now. It's sort of getting to be a really good Neptune. And so even though it is opposing your sun sign, I think that there are things going on behind behind the scenes that people are not telling you about, but they can bring emotional stability and healing to a lot of people. So I wouldn't worry about that right now. What you do need to worry about is that a lot of people are going to be putting demands upon you that don't make any sense whatsoever, Virgo, and you're going to have to watch your health and withdraw a little bit, because yours is the sign of assistance, and you could be wanting to help everybody, but they don't have your best interests at heart, Virgo. So that is why you could wear yourself out a little bit, and instead you need to withdraw and really watch your health and provide some solitude for yourself so that you can remain calm. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a wonderful new moon for you, and that is because 4 planets in Gemini, Mars, the Sun, Moon, and Jupiter, are all trining your Sun, Libra, which is good for you. And what that means, Libra, is that it's off with the old and on with the new, and you're going to be delighted with the new. And the reason why it's really off with the old is because there are those 4 planets in cardinal signs, and they are all stressfully aspecting your Sun sign. And that is because Venus and Mercury in Cancer are squaring your Sun, which means there can be a few little disruptions in your family life. And Pluto in Capricorn is squaring your Sun, which means that management can change policies or rules and regulations, and that can threaten your peace of mind. And Uranus is being sorely aspected in Aries right now, and it is opposing your Sun sign. And that's where off with the old comes in, Libra. It means there could be a breakup right now, but it could be a breakup from somebody who is very spoiled and has always wanted their own way and isn't partner material anyway. And so I don't think you're going to miss them very much, Libra. And with all the planets in Gemini trining your Sun, there are other people that are going to welcome you with open arms. So you would have a chance for a short-term project, or you can be involved in buying and selling or renting and moving. And the new people you meet can be very delightful. So I hope you're open to change, Gemini or Libra, because I think you'll be happy with that. And if somebody leaves, think of it as just an unhappy segment of your life that is winding down. You won't miss them. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this can be a time of greater commitment for you. And the reason why is the new moon in Gemini is 150 degrees away from your Sun, or it's an aspect we call inconjunct. In other words, it might not have a big effect on you, Scorpio, but the thing that will affect you quite nicely is that Mercury and Venus are now in Cancer trining your Sun, where you have Saturn. That means that people who you have known a long time or old family ties are really going to hold, and that can give you a lot of emotional stability. At the same time, Neptune in Pisces is trining your Sun, and that simply means that friends you have behind the scenes that no one knows you know can be very comforting to you right now. So there is even the possibility that you are deciding that something has to wind down in your life so that you can make a deeper commitment in the future. And the future could be as early as July, when Saturn goes direct in your sign. What kind of commitment could it be? You could decide to take on a heavy task, but one that you have a lot of experience in, that you're really well suited for. So you could be wanting to take something to the next level, and that could be to preserve it for future generations, and particularly for your family. And that is why you could be willing to make a sacrifice that involves much harder work in order for your family to be happy. And I think that's coming right up. All right, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, this is simply a time with all 4 planets in Gemini on Saturday opposing your Sun sign, that it isn't just a matter of something winding down, it is a matter of something ending. And so something ends for you right now, Sagittarius. It could be that somebody is moving on and they're really leaving, they're not going to be back. Or it can simply be that something that you had wanted to do is not going to be continued, and it might be because of a budget problem, so you could be suffering a layoff. Or it can simply be that someone else you know is just going to take off. And it isn't that they're necessarily mad at you, Sagittarius. It is that they've had it. They want things to wind down. They want to explore something new, and they are going to do it because Mars is opposing your Sun sign now, Sagittarius. And so harm could come to you, actually, if you sort of make friends with the wrong sort of people. So you do need to be a little bit more discriminating. And instead, I think since something is really ending, think of it as a hidden blessing, Sagittarius, because it will open you up to new adventures, and particularly with people that are rather brilliant or ahead of their time, because Uranus in Aries is trining your sun. So it isn't all bad right now, but there isn't just a winding down, Sagittarius. There's a definite ending, possibly two of them right now, and that's just the way it's going to be. It doesn't mean you can't go on. It means you can't remain where you are, and so you need to face that. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is simply a time when I think you can be putting pressure on somebody else because you've had it and you're not going to allow them to go along their own spoiled way or have everything their own way anymore. And that's good because Uranus in Aries is exactly squaring Pluto in your sun sign, Capricorn, and you do want to uphold truth and tradition and honor and things that are supposed to be done sort of according to the book, or according to rules and regulations and policies that are for the good of everyone. And so I think you're going to stick to what your beliefs are right now. At the same time, I don't think that your love life's particularly going well, or there can be a home matter at a distance even that needs to be resolved, and that is because Mercury and Venus in Cancer are opposing your sun sign right now. So there can be challenges and tension that you can be facing. I don't think you yourself are threatened, Capricorn, but there are challenges around, and some of them represent things that have been bothering you for a long time. Well, wave goodbye to them, because I think somebody's going to be leaving and you're not going to miss them for a minute. In fact, you're probably going to be smiling a lot more once they leave, Capricorn. But at the same time, you can be a little unhappy with your home life or with your family members, and that you're going to have to be philosophical about that and realize that they too have a right to wind things down and go their own way. And so they may be choosing to expand, whereas you may be choosing to stay where you are. So there could be a little parting of the ways. And it wouldn't be unhappy. It's just something you need to sort of accept that others are going on right now. Maybe it's their turn. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a wonderful new moon for you. You couldn't ask for anything better. And the reason why is those 4 planets in Gemini are trining your sun. And they are energized right now because Mars is there. And that simply means somebody is going to rush the deadline, or somebody's going to really press people to do things or to get things done. And they are going to be quite demanding, and so at least in 2 different ways. And so somebody could throw you a ball with one hand, particularly a curved ball that could throw you off balance, and you know what you're going to do, Aquarius? You're just going to catch it. In fact, no matter what anybody throws at you right now, you're going to be on your toes and able to handle anything. And that is because you may have the opportunity to get new partners right now. As soon as you sort of end some old partnerships or relationships that you have outgrown. And so this is a time of advancement for you, but it isn't because you're going to advance steadily forward. It's because no matter what they throw at you, you're going to handle it just fine, Aquarius. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, I think that you need to be super careful right now. In other words, don't be in the wrong place at the wrong time with anything. And just like Virgo, you need to get something in writing and witnessed by a third party before you actually believe it, Pisces. And the reason why is those 4 planets in Gemini, Mars, the Sun, the Moon, and Jupiter, are all squaring your sun sign where you have Neptune. That makes 5 planets in mutable signs, which means it's not going to be quite so easy to get along with other people, particularly people who are always changing their minds. Gemini does rule being fickle, and people who are strong in Gemini can be saying one thing and doing another. So you need to be a little bit careful and make sure that whoever's promising you something is actually going to follow through. And try not to fall for blue sky right now, Pisces, because if something sounds like it's too good to be true, it's not. And you don't need to pursue it any further. And so this is a good time to step back and get somebody else to follow through on their promises before you involve yourself in something right now, Pisces, and that is so you don't get tripped up or you don't get harmed. Because remember, I said there are 4 planets in the water signs, and that simply means you're under very good aspects right now for emotional stability and having wonderful relationships and strengthening the loyal relationships of people you have known for a long time, or of being able to take advantage of advice from people who are older. You could even come into some sort of an inheritance right now, or at least by July, when Saturn goes direct in Scorpio, because Venus and Mercury in Cancer are trining your sun, meaning there could be a good family news or a favorable real estate transaction. If you were thinking of selling, you might just get your prize, Pisces. And also Saturn in Scorpio is trining your sun, which means that people who have been pummeled by enemies right now can be recovering, and they may even be able to help you out financially where they were not able to do that before. So things can be looking up in small ways and in big ways, particularly in matters that involve your feelings. And that is because you can do good to others, but you just have to make sure that they are deserving, Pisces. And that's why you need to put out a few feelers and test a few people and try to have them prove what they say before you believe it. Because that Mars is squaring your sun, and that means if you fall for blue sky, you are really going to regret it. So I wouldn't act too fast right now, Pisces. It might get you in a little bit of trouble. All right, we're coming close to the end of the show, and I just want to say that this new moon, remember, emphasizes the fact that you need to do 2 things. Not just start something new, but before you start something new, you must finish or wind something down. And it is something you've outgrown, or it is something that isn't interesting you anymore. Remember, the future is highlighted, not the past, unless it involves people that you've known and respect. Known for a long time and really respect. Those are the people you really need to stick to. You may not need everything else in your life, but we all need love. And that love should be love that has withstood the test of time. And I think that, Pisces, if you were sticking to that, you'd work out just fine right now and probably be very happy in the end. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. You can see the show anytime you want on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.